religious and litigation, according to Confucius, is doomed for every party. Luckily, I did not believe in Confucius, so I studied law. Many people say, why? Why do you study law? Have you ever been discriminated? I think since day one, when I came to this country. When I passed the immigration, the officer asked me, what's your last name? I said, Chu, C-H-I-U. And he said, are you married? I said, yes. What's your husband's last name? I said, Chen, C-H-E-N. So he put a stamp. So my last name became Chen. So it became Chang, Chu, Chen. And in short, it was Chang, Chen, okay? C-H-A-N-G and followed by C-H-E-N. When I register for school, nobody can ever find me. They don't know whether it's Chen or Chang or whatever. So I think that's discrimination. Why couldn't I be Chu, you know? So that was in 1972. So that was then, okay? I'm sure now things are different. You can choose your own last name when you came to this country. Then I went to study biochemistry because in Taiwan I majored in botany and biochemistry. I studied biochemistry. When I got my PhD, I went to work for Roche. It's a huge German pharmaceutical company. And when it's time for advancement, promotion, a black guy got the job. I didn't. I worked together with the black guy. So I went to my boss, why you chose him over me? If you have good reason, then I will be okay. And my boss told me because he's a man. He has 3 kids and a wife to take care of. You have a rich husband. You go home and eat on your husband. Well, too bad, that's not okay with me. So I went to his boss. By doing so, I made a big mistake. You don't go to your boss's boss. So I went to my boss's boss, who wasn't on my side. Then I went to my boss's boss's boss, okay? Of course, it wasn't on my side. And then the union worker told me, you're gonna be fired. You better find yourself a civil rights attorney. Otherwise, you'll be fired. So I said, civil rights, what's that? They said, go to Newark. There's an attorney who graduated from Harvard, and he is super, and he handled this kind of cases. So I went to Newark. It's in New Jersey. I went to Newark, and in a dark room, I saw a light shine on a Lincoln statue. Okay, I was so emotional. And there, on a big, big black table, sit a little Jewish man, and he was there like, and he said, okay, tell me your story. On the table, there was no ornament, no flowers, no nothing, just a box of Scott's tissue. Tell me your story. And I go, and he pushed the box to me. They all do that. And then so I start telling my story in tears. And then he go, okay. He stopped me after 2 minutes. He said, let me dictate a letter to the president of Roche. Tell me whether what I said is right. He's like right on it. Every little sentences. And I was so touched. And he said, okay, this little letter will cost you $300. This was in 1976. $300 is more than my week's salary, a lot. So he said, you will find out it's worth every penny of it. Sure enough, when he sent the letter to Roche in Switzerland, in a week I got a promotion. However, I was sent to a Siberia's Roche to work as a senior scientist. Every day when I went into the factory, I'll be searched. Both body search and car search. They want to harass you. You think they will win? You think they will lose? If they lose, they will find another way to get even. So after being searched for 3 months, I had enough. So I take the employee book and read it and found out, oh, I have another way. If you're pregnant, you can take off from the minute you're pregnant until a year after you give birth. So I went on to have 2 kids. I got my PhD, I have 2 years of vacation, and I finished my PhD dissertation. And I got into law school because I want to know law. Now I understand why everybody wants to study law. And I went back to the Harvard lawyer in Newark, and because I don't know how to write a personal statement. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are. If your personal statement, why you want to apply to us, why you want to do this, if you don't do well in 300 words, you'll never get admitted. So I went back to him, and he said, no problem. Again, he wrote 300 letters, as good as like United Nations letter. And then he said, this will be for free. So he's my idol. So I got admitted to Columbia Law School, okay? And they say, we know your English is terrible, but we want to take you so that when you grow up, you can help Sino-American relationship. I'm so sorry, I don't think I can, you know? Like, oh, what can you do? Anyway, but I went through law school, I went here and there and there and there. And one day, my friend who's an attorney told me, I don't have any cases, can you help? He's doing immigration. So I say, I cannot help you finding friends, but I can help you writing articles on the newspaper. Maybe you'll get clients. Anyway, I find out he was just joking because his family was the richest family in San Francisco. But anyway, I got all my articles, I got all the cases. I started writing a book. It's called The Battle Between the Dragon and the Eagles. And I found my first case. It happened in 1876. It was such an interesting case. Okay, I got my book published. And the director of National History Museum of Taiwan said that, I got your book because I printed 300 copies. And I sent it to everybody who's willing to take it. Who's gonna read this, right? Anyway, he said, we think the cases involving women are interesting. Would you curate an exhibition in the National History Museum of Taiwan? So I did it. I went to convince all my clients to contribute, donate, so that we can have a beautiful art exhibition. Look, we come up with a mirror maze. It's 9 feet, 9 centimeter, 9 meter tall, 9 meter wide and round. It was beautiful. And then we embedded thousands of LED lights on the ground. And we put all the stories, see all the stories on the floor. It was just beautiful. And I want to bring it to the US to show it. First, I went to San Francisco Library. We have the director of International Center in San Francisco Library, Doris.
Retired librarian, not director. Just got promotion now.
Anyway, so her boss told me, we can't do it in the US because we have homeless population. They will come in, get high, and then when we have security pull them out, they will get scratched and bloody, and then we'll be sued to death. So we can't. So that piece is still in Taiwan. And they told me maybe I can talk to Angel Island and have that piece installed in Angel Island. But that's, you know, like I'm sure I have to pay everything, every penny of it. Anyway, so this is what we did. It cost $100,000. Okay, see, we put the stories here. And then this story started Chinese civil rights movement. This young boy here, on his wedding day, he had hold a banquet in Detroit's McDonald's, and 2 white guys who just lost his job from like GM factory thought he was Japanese and took his job away. So they used a baseball bat and killed him on the street. And then his mother, of course, was heartbroken, so he brought a lawsuit against those 2 white employees. Of course they lost, but she asked for $2 million in damages. Do you think they can afford it?
No.
No, they can't. So finally, she, out of all this, she got cancer. You know, when you're really upset, you'll have cancer. And then she went back to China and died there. But Vincent Chin didn't win his case, but he brought all the communities together. So after that, all the Chinese community, no matter which one, whenever there's a discrimination cases, you can get all their help. Right now, there was another case for Chen, okay? She was accused as a Chinese spy. She lived in Ohio, and all the Chinese community get together, they donate and all that, so she finally won her case, 1.8 million, after 6 years. But her husband died. So you never get, if you have a lawsuit, maybe Confucius is right in this aspect, right? Somebody is going to have a disaster. So that's her story. So I started writing her story, 1 and 2, and then this is all the places we travel. Look at that. We have all these places. We went to Chicago, we went to New York Public Library. Can you imagine? That's like the epitome of libraries. And then we have Hawaii and all those places. Next one. And then we went to UC Berkeley and all this. Everybody has open arm, welcome us. I was so surprised. Next one. And all this. We went to Texas. We went to Louisville, Kentucky. And we went to Yolo County. But I must tell you, I call Reno. Reno has a historical museum. And the director came to, and I say, I am Dr. Chen, and we have Chinese. And she go, no Chinese. Bang. Wow. That's Reno. And then there's another place, I think it's in Ohio. No, our library will not be available for a long time. I said, I can wait. No. So, discrimination is part of human nature. I don't blame them because we have discrimination too, right? We discriminate on something else. So civil rights movement is always 1 step ahead and 2 steps backwards, right? Can never win. But my little contribution is when I started this research in 2015, I searched under Library Congress and put Chinese American women. The research is like 0. And now I search, it's like 240,000. And they all group under Chinese American women. Even Madame Chiang Kai-shek, who is the president's wife. When I first searched, she was indexed under general's wife. What kind of category is that? General's wife. This is the first book I have a lot of cases. You probably, like all this is all the women who made a contribution. In that time, in my first book, it's 2019, I found 3 well-known Chinese American women. Elaine Chao, who was the cabinet secretary, and Dali Li was the first Chinese American female federal judge, and Judy Chu was the first Chinese American congresswoman. Now in Herstory too, we have all this, everybody. And we have Michelle Wu, who is mayor of Boston and undersecretary of defense for R&D. We have more because people complain. This is, you forgot this one, you forgot this one. So we have a lot. So I'm glad we're gaining a voice. Then I start writing Herstory 2 in 2019. We have even more women who is making their voice heard. So this is the first case of Chinese women in the Supreme Court. It's called 22 lewd Chinese women. Why? Because at that time, Chinese women were building transcontinental railroad, okay? They were building railroad, there were 100,000 here, only 400 women, Chinese women. So they want more Chinese women here to be wives for the railroad worker. And there was a boat from Hong Kong to San Francisco. There were 22 young women in there. And the immigration officer took one look at them and said, "You're all whores. Get out." Those were the 22 women. And see, they arrived in San Francisco, were classified as lewd and debauched. And there was a white minister who became witness for those women. said all the Chinese prostitutes wear colorful belly bands. You know belly bands? And because, and then at that time, the rich Chinese women wear huge sleeves to show you that they can afford the material, right? Something, and the judge asked their lawyer to look into the sleeves, and see what color was the belly bands. And it was all colorful, either red or white or green. So the judge said, okay, you guys were all prostitutes. You lost the case. But luckily, they appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no immigration officer should label a people after look at them for the first time. So they won the case, okay? They would reverse their rule in favor of those women. They were immediately released. So that was the first Chinese-American woman case.
The girl in the photograph looks awfully young.
Yes. So you ask me, were they really prostitutes or what?
Children?
Children.
Age is 17 or so.
No, I'm pretty sure they were bought to come here. But it doesn't matter, the law is the law, okay? You just don't do this. What happens if they're not? What happens if any of those one is not? So, we cannot just say everybody who's wearing colorful belly bands are prostitute. We will not give immigration officer the power to label people.
Is that a real picture? Is that an actual picture, or that you just put that in there?
At that time, 1874, I don't think so. We found this at Library of Congress under this case. So we
they
don't
just
know
put a
where they
picture
got
in
it.
there.
Right. In 1885, Mamie Tape, that's the girl there. That's a girl. When she was 8 years old, she wanted to go to public school. And the school principal standing in front of, to block them and go, no Chinese for the public school. So the parents were rich, so the parents sued and won. But just before she was going to enter the school, San Francisco Board of Education have an emergency meeting, and they pass a resolution. They will build an Oriental school for the Chinese. So anyway, it took a few more years. Yeah, it took a lot of, and then so since 1859, it's called Oriental School, but now it's Gordon Lau Elementary School. The family still live in Berkeley. Okay, this is Mabel Lee. She was the first woman PhD in Columbia University, and when she was 16 years old, she lead a parade of 10,000 people advocating for women's suffrage in New York. I was told she rode on a white horse. I don't know whether it was that dramatic, but anyway, after we passed the Women's Suffrage Act of 1920, she couldn't vote because of the Chinese Exclusion Act. So she lead the protest, but she couldn't vote. So that's her. So today, they have a memorial flag in front of the Chinatown Post Office for Mabel. Okay, do you know her?
Yeah.
March from you. She grew up in Oakland, Chinatown. Her parents opened a laundry service. And how she got to be famous and be voted is because she found out that the public toilet for women, you have to pay. But the public toilet for men, you don't have to pay. So on the eve of her the voting, she took a toilet, put it in front of the state capitol building, and smashed it. And that won her 3 million votes to the Secretary of State. So she stayed in that post for 19 years. This is the woman. Her ending was pretty sad, because then she lived with her husband in Pasadena. One night, it's a gated community, is rich, and one night a guy went in, and she was the only one on the first floor. So they grab her by the hair and say, where's the money? Drag her through the whole floor. Finally, she got $300 in cash for them. And then of course she was all, and then her husband was upstairs. He didn't hear anything. She was 85 and he was 86 or something. He couldn't hear anything. Anyway, she was in hospital. When she was released, she lived in the old person place, and she got up one day after dinner. She got up, and every bone in her body collapsed. So that was, I don't know how it happened, but it was described to me very hard. And this is Mi Chu. She was from a very prominent family in China. Her grandfather was involved in the revolution. So she came from a very rich and prominent family, and look at how beautiful she was. She went to Harvard. She got PhD from Harvard. She wrote a few books, and she spoke 3 languages. So she applied for a job at the Library of Congress. She was denied even an interview. So she sued and won. So she was working at Library of Congress for 35 years. And that's her. Okay. But this is a different era. I'm not sure if she sued today, she may win. You know, it's so different. It's just Sai's a woman who's a friend of mine. Her husband was a famous writer. Her husband was very critical of the ruling party, Chiang Kai-shek, a son who was the president of Taiwan then. So they sent a killer to murder her, him. He lives in Daly City. And he went to the garage that morning to get stuff, and the wife heard a gunshot. So they killed him. The problem is that you don't send killers from Taiwan to kill an American citizen on American soil, right? So they won the case. She won $1.5 million. And do you know Khashoggi, the journalist Khashoggi? He was murdered in Saudi Arabia embassy. Why? Because of this precedent. You cannot kill American citizen in American soil. Can you kill American citizen in foreign soil? It's none of their business. So he was killed in Saudi Arabia embassy. So this is a very sad case. But anyway, she got settlement of 1.45 million, and 450,000 go to the attorney, and she got $1 million. She bought 2 houses, one for her and one for her son. And I'm happy to inform you those houses worth $5 million each now. But she's 80 something. So
Did the government of Taiwan have to pay that?
Yeah.
Oh, they did pay.
Yeah. Right.
But China's accused of having prisons right now in the United States.
Huh?
The government of China is accused of having prisons in New York that came out in the
Yeah.
news.
Yeah. But Taiwan is different. It's different. At that time, if you have a regime that's dictatorship, you get this, right? This is a doctor. She was a whistleblower that she told the Western press that China has very serious AIDS problem, because when those poor people in this village donate blood, the nurse does not change the tip of the needle. So the HIV was spreading. And of course China, didn't say anything, but she whistleblower to the West. So she has to leave China because she was getting beaten. So she left China, and she settled down in Salt Lake City. But all of a sudden she died. But I think she's a great whistleblower, because now they stop donating blood, or they change the needles for each joint of blood. This woman, Sherry Chen, okay, she was a citizen in 1997. This happened in 2012. I really like something. When you are arrested by police, they want to handcuff you, but they want to do it publicly so they can really humiliate you. So when she was handcuffed, the FBI, everybody went to her office, make sure all her co-workers were present, and they handcuffed her. So that humiliation, you cannot pay enough, So she was lead away, and she was prosecuted for being a spy and all that. And the day before the hearing, the case was dismissed. Can you imagine? And she never got her job back, even though she got the money. And the woman who whistleblower on her is Debbie Lee, she's white, and she got promoted. So this is really unfair case. But look, it happens in 2014, and it was settled in 2022. So it still happened today.
How much money did she get?
Huh?
You know what her settlement was?
Yeah, 1.8 million.
1.8 million.
Yeah, but she lost her husband. Her husband also died from emotional distress and all that. So she's all alone in Ohio now. Okay, look at this beautiful woman. They say Chanel Miller. What does that got to do with Chinese American women? But she's mixed. Her mother is Chinese, and her father is white. And she went to a party at Stanford and was raped. And then, day rape was a lot. So, and the guy who raped her, his name is Brooke Turner. Brooke Turner was on the school Stanford swimming team, a star to be. But anyway, her mother was very courageous. She said, no, we're gonna sue. So the prosecutor accepted the case, and she was questioned, insulted. You know how the rape cases are, like, hey, you're so ugly. Anyway, but she finally won. And the judge on the left-hand side, that white guy on the left-hand side, sentence him to prison for 6 months with parole.
No.
So anyway, this sentence angered everybody. So a professor at Stanford set up so they want to recall Judge Persky. So he was recalled by 65% vote of the people. So he was, and Brooke Turner was never allowed to be on Stanford campus again, and never allowed to be on the U.S. Olympic again. And his father was furious. Why you do this? Why you ruin my son? It was only 10 minutes. So he doesn't get it. So because of her, we passed 3 laws in California. Now, if you rape somebody, your sentence has to be 3.5 years at least, okay? And raping is more than penal insertion, including everything else. So she was very brave to suffer through all this. So she has a new book, it's called Know My Name. It's one of the bestsellers on New York Times bestseller list. And she's now a freelance writer for New York Times. She's just very beautiful. Okay.
It was a legal settlement, but it wasn't a financial settlement. She didn't sue his family, but she could have. Civil suit.
Yeah, I don't think they got anything because this is a criminal case. Okay, this is Herstory 3. Okay, do you remember this woman? You probably do. She tried to sell stuff on Oakland Street, and she was beaten by a white guy, and to like this. But she was not afraid. She picked up a stick and beat the white guy into blood. So they have to call an ambulance to take him away. And so the grandson appeared on go to GoFundMe and raise money for her. And in 5 hours or 5 days, they raised $1 million. And if you look at that list, every donation was like $5, $10. So it's really something. She's very brave. Look, all this women being beaten. So this DA was recalled. Okay, so finally, a good news is that Asian American National Museum of Asian Pacific American History and Cultural Act passed. So we have a new museum all for Asian American women. Women? Yeah. Asian American, Asian Pacific American History Museum. So that's good news. That's it. Thank you very much.
Did you tell your story? I came a little late, but you have a story too. Your suit, the lawsuit?
My lawsuit?
Yeah.
Oh, I have many lawsuits. Which one?
The one where you were prosecuted in Taiwan, it was, or something?
Oh, yeah.
Did you tell us that story or not?
Right, yeah, I can tell you that story. because it was just me. I'm an American lawyer, okay? So when I go to Taiwan, remember, law and medicine, you are not allowed to encroach on other people's territory, making money. So I'm an American lawyer, go to Taiwan, try to grab the food from the mouth of Taiwan lawyers. They hate me. So when I was doing TV show, okay, they write letters to the TV station all the time. She lied. She's wrong here, she's wrong there. Every day, there's no end to this. And then finally, after 4 years, they sue me. They prosecute me. Like they just prosecute me. And I told them this is nothing. I'm not practicing Taiwan law. I'm practicing American law in Taiwan, right? The prosecutor looked at me from the beginning to the end like, from the beginning, you know you're gonna lose, right? When the prosecutor look at you like that. So anyway, so they say I committed, I illegally practiced Taiwan law in Taiwan. So I was sentenced to 2 months, but can be parole. So of course I sue, okay? I sue and sue and sue all the way to the Supreme Court. I won. Because you can't, you have a treaty with the US that American law can practice in Taiwan if you register, and I did register. So I thought, next month, another piece, they sue me again for illegal practice of Taiwan law, no end, okay? So I have a friend who's a doctor, brilliant doctor, graduated from Chicago, and he went back to Taiwan to practice. And because of my case, his office has no sign. He is still prosecuted for illegal practice of medicine in Taiwan. It's like, he also has a Taiwan license. It doesn't matter. They hate you. They think every doctor who cannot get a job is because of you. So I was told, they say, we couldn't get a job because of you. So what can we do? So I'm very, I regret it, but it's my fate. I mean, when I come practice here, I practice here, okay? But almost all my clients are Chinese or Taiwanese. A white guy would go, your English is not good. They probably do better than me, but they're wrong, okay? But it's hard. I have so many cases I can't deal with, white guys' cases. And when I go back to Taiwan, I have China and Taiwanese come to me for their grievances in the US. So it's enough business for me.
But you helped some group, you didn't tell the front of the end of the story. You helped some group, and that's why they came after you.
Right.
You were prosecuted for helping people.
Right.
How did you help
Right.
people?
Yes, it's sorry.
Are you related to
I want you to tell the story.
Right,
that's why.
right. It's Lehman Brothers case. You know Lehman Brothers junk bond? People
Yeah.
bought Lehman Brothers bond and get wiped out. Taiwan has 250 families. They were out. So I say, this is terrible. Lehman Brothers registered in the US. I'm going to help you. So I help them. I say, I take no money. You just give me your cases. And if I win, you give me 10%, okay? They all say, yes, sign. And I went to deal with the bank because the banks are the one. The Lehman Brothers bond was a fraud from the beginning. They don't have the bond. They just have a number and locked up in the Switzerland bank, locker. Only a piece of number. And then they send out all the bankers to sweet talk. So in Taiwan, the way they do it is they find the most beautiful and sweetest talking teller to call you. Hi, Mr. Wan, would you da 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 da? Well, sure, we'll give you 10% of interest and we'll give you this and that. So people just bye. And one day, nothing becomes zero. I know it's the bank, okay? The bank didn't buy from Lehman. They just print out, copy the paper and say, it's the banks. The Taiwan has 9 big banks and I fight them all the time. It's very sad. You know, when we get a settlement, is when someone jump up from the top of the building.
Oh, wow.
And then the press will report it and people will get angry. And then they got paid. And then in 3 months, everybody forget, no more. Negotiate, no pay, until the next one jump up.
Oh,
It's, reality is very sad.
so people committed suicide, that's eventually got a settlement because people committed suicide?
Right.
Wow,
That's how you get settlement.
jeez.
So, I was there helping them, and I got this letter, and I was prosecuted. By then, I was already thick-skinned because I got prosecuted so often, it doesn't matter. So I went to talk to, and the judge was angry at me because in Taiwan, we don't have percentage, what do you call that? What do you call? We don't charge you, we charge percentage. But my experience is even if I want money for them, they don't pay me. If I lose case, of course, they don't have to pay me. But if I want, I don't get money either. People in Taiwan don't want to pay lawyers.
Oh, you don't get an automatic percentage of the settlement, is that what you're saying?
No, the judge even yelled at me for breaking the rule.
Wow.
So you don't
So
take
you're
the
not
money.
guaranteed payment for your work in Taiwan, is that
No,
correct?
no,
Jeez,
yeah.
and that's the law.
Yeah, no, there's no law, that's gray area. See, in
Oh.
the US, the judge, the settlement will go to you first, and
Right.
the lawyer distribute it.
Exactly.
In Taiwan, it go directly to the victim.
Oh,
So,
so if they don't pay you, they cut you out, there's nothing you can do.
right, nothing.
Wow.
I sued one case, but the judge said, ha, 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 you lose.
But the settlement you got for the Lehman Brothers, did they pay, most of the clients pay you or not?
No, it's basically, there's no Lehman Brothers involvement. It's all Taiwan bank faking the Lehman Brothers bond.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever seen a bond that say Lehman Brothers and bond? No, you don't see that. Bank do that.
So even the clients got paid, they didn't pay you?
No.
Wow, geez.
No. So, but God is good to me, so I never need money.
Right,
So I can still come here and do this, right?
right. Great story.
So you do read those things, huh?
Yeah, I did, I read it. That's why I came, I wanted to hear the rest of the story. You filled in the pieces of that story, and I'm sure you have a lot more. You practice here in Taiwan, or?
No, I practice here,
Okay.
but my clients are Taiwanese and Chinese.
Are you Northern California?
Yeah, San Francisco.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I deal with many big cases.
okay.
So I know all the presidents because they all sue Taiwan. Okay, your worst enemy is whoever is in your field. So if you sell gold, your worst enemy is another person who sell gold because you are a competitor.
Okay.
So they will report you. So how does, like FTC, Federal Trade Commission, got all the papers? How do they get all the evidence? It's from your neighbor, your brothers, your sister, your competitors. All that. So during Obama administration, you think they're good to Taiwan? No, it's really bad. So Biden, not good either. Trump, the worst.
Do you want to talk on the current threats from China to attack Taiwan? Do you think they'll ever do it or not?
No, because I think the reason all the news went wild is because U.S. want to sell military to Taiwan. That's the only reason. I was a senator, I know very well. Why? Chinese, in their whole mind, from 0 age to 100 age, they never think about Taiwan. Yeah, like you and I never think about Aruba,
Yeah.
right? It's only all those, the worst people are in National Gun Association, the one who makes smoke, cigarettes,
Yeah, cigarettes, yeah.
and the one who makes, weapons are the worst people.
This is the first time we put a date, though, on attacking Taiwan. They actually, the president, of China, so it doesn't matter the.
No.
Do you think it's also that the United States wants to put more bases in other countries near there? So if they have a threat, they have a reason that they can set
Right,
up
all those
military.
strong.
Like they have in Okinawa
Yeah.
and
Right.
other countries
Right.
and other, where they shouldn't be anymore, but they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It depends on how far the drone goes
Yeah.
without being find out.
Mhm.
I think so, I think so. I think, but Taiwan is willing and ready. We already have a big base there. US has a big base there.
Does any of your legal, or lawsuits deal with the government of China, mainly Taiwan, but anything with the government of China at all? Or not?
Yeah, the federal antitrust. I
Okay.
have done a few antitrust, anti-dumping cases. It's all against China.
How do you solve that? I don't know, the diplomatic relations with the United States and China. Are you able to settle those cases?
We all negotiated out. I think they're bigger national interests than whatever is at stake in the court. Okay? Yeah.
So they negotiate outside of the court? Okay. Makes sense.
So your research on the Asian American, particularly I guess Chinese American, you feel there's a progress made clearly, right, from 1800s down?
No,
But it's still, do you
No.
feel, no?
no, because discrimination is part of human nature. Right
Okay.
now, Florida governor just signed a bill forbidding Chinese, Russian, Syrian, and other countries, 7 countries, to buy real estate in Florida.
Is that legal?
It's legal
I know we
now.
signed it, but is it legal?
Yeah, once the governor signed it, it's the law.
Wow.
So it's being challenged, you know.
Yeah.
And then there are 16 states, they are going to sign the bill.
The same kind of bill?
Yes.
Wow.
So what do you think? You think we are more advanced now? No, definitely not. But are women more advanced after Roe versus Wade being overturned? No. So it's hopeless, you know, like, we just have to.
No,
No, it's not hopeless.
Yeah, Roe versus Wade.
It's sad, it's sad.
How are we gonna deal with this?
The more knowledge, the more people become aware, the more people are rising up. Maybe it's not as fast as we would like it to be, but
Good, I'm glad you say that.
it's just my opinion.
Okay.
I have a question. Your historic roots, family Taiwan or China or both?
Taiwan,
Taiwan.
yeah.
Mm.
I don't like China at all.
So how many generations back from China, or can you trace it?
Oh, maybe 2. I really don't care because, my father's father, I don't know them.
Okay.
And so, and they have nothing to do with me. I don't care.
Have you ever traveled around China at all, or have you ever visited?
I built the first Western law office in China.
In China,
Yeah.
mainland?
Yes, Beijing.
Oh, wow.
And my experience was disastrous because they come to me and go, "You cannot represent those white people, you're Chinese." You know, I say, they deserve to be represented. No, you don't. If you keep doing this, we'll put you in jail. It's like, it's impossible to reason with them. And they lie and cheat. I despise them.
So you had to close your office in China?
No, it was forced to be closed after Tiananmen massacre.
Oh, wow.
So Tiananmen massacre happened in 1989, June 4th.
Right.
And my office was closed June 3rd. You know why? Because they're good embassy people. Bring the card to us and say, "Leave, otherwise you'll be killed tomorrow."
Oh, wow.
They know. So
They knew it was coming before it happened?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, so we
U.S.
go back.
intelligence told you?
Yes.
Wow.
They have a bus and went to each of the US office and pick us up.
And you had to fly out the country right away?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Where's your book at? Have you written a book on all
no,
of this?
because they're still, China will revenge. It's not funny. I have no time to deal with them than doing this.
Okay.
I want to save more women. I don't care about that. When they are so big, so they beat up people, they kill you, why you want to? Remember Dr. Shu Ping Wang?
Yeah.
She was whistleblower and she came here, and all of a sudden she died.
Wow.
Oh, you don't want to do that. You know, they are too big. I don't want to deal with them. I deal with my little thing, you know.
Okay.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, okay, I hear you.
Yeah. so we're here fighting our little fight, whatever
The
we
good
can.
fight.
Even saving one person is one person, right? Just one
Right.
at a time. I think I know you, right? Do I know you? No?
I'm also from Taiwan as well,
Oh.
but I came to the United States years ago.
Oh, okay.
Do you speak Taiwanese then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a senator, I have to speak Taiwanese.
You were senator in Taiwan? Okay. Wow, I didn't know all that. So you have dual citizenship or not?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. Under what president? Who was president when you were senator?
Was the most corrupt president in the world, his name is Chen President
Yeah,
Chang.
the one that
He did what?
He
took
was-
all the money.
Yeah,
Right.
he was the
Did they put him in
most-
prison or not?
Yeah, I think he was.
He's out now?
He's out
He's out.
flying.
Who's the one that went to China?
Current,
The second one.
Ma Ying-jeou. Yeah, after him, the president.
The president after him?
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
He's still alive though, the one you were senator.
Oh, yeah, he, after I was senator, I was so happy, elated in my office. All of a sudden, the secretary of the president called me. So I went into the presidential palace, and the secretary of the president told me, you need to give the party $50 million.
What?
And I said, I don't have that money. They said, you will have, pay first.
Wow.
Yeah, and I say, I'm sorry, I don't have the money. If I had the money, I wouldn't be here. And so they have a meeting and they, kicked me out of the party.
Oh, wow. So they were gonna use you as a conduit for illegal money to get to them?
No, everybody, every senator has to pay money.
Oh.
Like, every TV hostess has to sleep with the president of the TV company.
Wow.
It was that bad.
Wow. See.
So I only did it for like four years because I didn't want to sleep with the chairman of the board, no. I said, I don't get 2 doctorates just to sleep. If I have to sleep, I need to get my 2 doctorates.
Like
So I
Harvey
feel
Weinstein.
for all the little girls, huh?
Like Harvey Weinstein in Hollywood, we've had that here too.
I know.
Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, it's everywhere.
And Kennedy, President Kennedy,
Yeah,
President
Kennedy was one of the
Clinton.
worst, yeah.
Is
Clinton,
that just
yeah.
man?
Yeah, I guess so, that's sad to say. This is the kind of world we live in,
Yeah. What can we do? Nothing, slowly.
slowly.
But in Northern Europe, Northern Europe, I think is much better.
Getting better.
Men and women are the same, are equal, and they are loyal to each other because it's so cold outside, nobody want to go outside. So,
So they get in a fight, they'll freeze to death if the wife kicks out the husband, you know?
right. Okay, all right, thank you so much. I didn't expect, I told her, put up a table, we'll just talk. I'm so glad and grateful that you guys come. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So you haven't written any books, no books? You haven't written no books?
I wrote tons, 83 books.
Oh, yeah.